Hello and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Messerschmitt 410 Hornisse, an aircraft mired by the reputation of its predecessors, the 110 and 210. Despite fixing the flaws inherent in those Zerstoras, it ironically arrived at a time where the Luftwaffe no longer needed a long-range heavy escort fighter, and circumstances in the air war had shifted from offensive operations to that of purely defensive for the Luftwaffe on all fronts. Because of the initial failures of the 110 and 210, the 410 is often viewed in the same light, overlooking the many advanced technical innovations for its time, and solving its two most fatal flaws, that being speed and maneuverability. The 410 was in fact a capable day and night fighter in the hands of an experienced ace like Hauptmann Eduard Tratt, who flew all three types, and ended up becoming the highest scoring Zerstorer ace in the war in terms of aerial victories. Critics of the 410, as noted in my previous videos when comparing this twin-engine fighter bomber with allied designs such as the P38 and Mosquito, are always keen to point out the fact that despite their early successes against the 8th Air Force day bombing campaign, they eventually suffered such heavy losses they had to abandon their role of bomber interceptors entirely. What they neglect to mention, however, is that the reason for this was the introduction of long-range escort fighters that completely and utterly outnumbered the Luftwaffe fighters sent to attack bomber formations, with orders specifically to ignore and avoid engagement with their escorts, which immediately put them at a significant tactical disadvantage, while also being heavily outnumbered. In such a scenario, no Allied twin-engine design would have fared any better than the 410, which itself was not originally intended for the role of heavy bomber destroyer, but rather simply one of the tasks it was saddled with and proved itself aptly capable of performing. Hauptmann and Tratt, despite facing both enormous Allied formations of heavily armed bombers and increasingly numerous and effective escorts such as the P38 Lightning, managed to claim victories over no less than 5 P38s in this Hornisse, 3 of which were claimed in a sortie on the 11th of February 1943 as Gruppenkommandeur of Zerstorer Geschwader 26, Horst Vessel. What this demonstrates is that the 410 was indeed a competent airframe and the zenith of the Zerstorer design concept, but came too late, in too few numbers, and was hampered by the reputation of its forebears. As such, it has been largely disregarded by history as little more than a footnote in the final and inevitable defeat of the Luftwaffe, rather than being appreciated for its innovative design concepts or for the skill of its most noteworthy pilots who managed to achieve success with it against seemingly impossible odds. The death of Tratt signalled the end of the 410's use as a daytime heavy bomber destroyer, and poignantly so, as he perished in a futile, single-handed attack on an entire formation of B-17s of the 91st Bomber Group and their P-51B escorts on 22nd of February 1944, flying over Nordhausen, Germany. A last death ride for a clearly spent force that no aircraft, nor pilot, nor skill could possibly have hoped to survive, either on the Axis or Allied side. While I understand people's perception that the 410 is another failed aircraft in a series of failed aircraft, due to the fact that contemporary discussion on the matter is limited almost entirely to the context of its failures, without ever mentioning its successes, or the pilots who flew it in the role of a fighter and achieved ace status, nor does it address the tactical disadvantages it faced, and how that contributed to its ultimate failure. The perception that, fighter to fighter, all things being equal, the P38 will always get the better of a 410 is simply untrue, based on the fact that, things being severely uneven, opportunity was still afforded for a real-life pilot to claim victory over the faster P38, which, unlike the 410, was specifically designed as an air superiority, long-range escort fighter, operated in larger numbers with the tactical advantage of altitude and being able to hunt targets that were ordered to ignore them. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more.